Welcome to
All
the
aboard
EZ
indeed.
Railcast. My
Yes, for
clever.
once on the EZ Railcast, we're talking about actual railroads.
Yep, we are talking about our local railroads, and yeah. So, by the way, I know nothing much about local railroads, and Drew will explain most of all of the local railroads. And
Well,
yeah,
you
we
see, yeah,
also I think Thomas Tales was supposed to do this to us, but I think
yeah, I
he'll
hope you're here soon.
show up.
Yeah. Also, I got a new haircut, and yeah,
Me too.
cool.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, all right. So Drew will today be talking about our local railroads and there are stories behind them. And yeah, here we go.
Now, there's been many railroads in Missouri. Like, there's been the St. Louis San Francisco Railroad, formerly called the Frisco, and that railroad just shut down and got replaced with a BNSF railroad asset, which is the railroad that's in Texas. And oh my gosh, he is here, ladies and gentlemen, our EZ Railcast guest, Thomas Tales.
All
Well,
right.
hello, Drew and Wyatt.
Hello, Thomas Tales.
Yes, Thomas Tales has a couple of railroads that he knows about. He lives in New York City, where the subways go.
Well, actually, this the subway is not a railroad. It's transportation.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So so I'm just gonna start first. But hold on real quick.
All right.
So there's a train named the New York City Subway. It has a bunch of lines, mainly from 1 to 7 and A to Z. And I'm gonna tell you some of them. So basically, my home line is the 6th line, which starts from a station named Pelham Bay Park, and another station named Brooklyn Bridge in the suburb of Manhattan.
All
For
right.
a young kid, he knows a lot about railroads. But,
Mm-hmm.
there are still passenger railroads that exist around this time. Like the St. Louis Zoo has a railroad called the Emerson Zoo Line. Let me just open up the map and you'll see what the route looks like. Yes.
Hmm.
And there are lots of tracks that go around the zoo, and there's a total of 3 tunnels: the Waterfall, Painting, and Average Tunnel.
Yeah, basically.
And then my next railroad is one I'm actually going to be visiting tomorrow, the Six Flags Railroad
Hmm.
at Six Flags
Which
St. Louis.
Drew's gonna be filming.
That was Damien trying to call me. I said my phone is
Tell
not to
Damien
start.
that
This won't tell
that
me again.
he's in EZ Railcast.
Yeah. Now back to business.
But anyway,
And then there's another railroad that I just visited last year, and I cannot find the brochure for it. Oh wait, there it is. The Branson Scenic Railway, which happens to have the Polar Express train ride. And
and I
I went
think
on
which
the
is
Polar
for
Express.
December.
It was a lot of fun. And there's also
Yeah.
the St. Louis Iron Mountain Southern Railway, which to see me on that railroad, go to my mom's YouTube channel and you'll see a couple of videos of me on the railroad. Unfortunately, part 7, where we're seeing I've been working on the railroad, hasn't been uploaded for some strange reason. And it's just parts 1 through 5 and 6, and there's no part 7, but it just goes straight to part 8, where my sister won the coloring book contest, where there's like a coloring page of a train and you had to color it, and she won.
Hmm.
Oh, that is really
And
interesting.
there's also the Wabash, Frisco, and Pacific Railroad, which is a miniature railroad that goes through Glencoe, Missouri, which is near Eureka, where Six Flags St. Louis is. And then there's also a railroad that just closed down a couple months ago, called the Arborway TT Northwestern Railroad. I've only been to that railroad once. They did have a steam train, but it wasn't in operation that day. And the railroad just closed down and never got to go there again, because it's all the property has moved to other railroads. Needless to say, pretty sad, but
Well,
at least we still have a lot of other railroads right here in Missouri.
well, the train moved like downstate,
Yeah.
downstate, like
Oh, there is also the Silver Dollar City train, which is called the Frisco Silver Dollar Line, and it's tank engines that go around Silver Dollar City.
Thomas.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about the the fuels of the train. So St. Louis Zoo first. So the Emerson Zoo line is gasoline powered. The Thomas G. Robertson Railroad, or the Six Flags Railroad, let me just get the map open, is steam power, but instead of coal or oil, it runs on non-pollution propane. Or as Hank Hill would say, it runs on propane and propane accessories. And then the Branson Scenic Railway, where's the freaking brochure? It's nowhere. Here it is. Diesel power, obviously, and the Frisco Silver Dollar Line, steam power, which they have diesel fuel, but they burn it to make steam.
Yep.
And same for the Wabash. They have steam and diesel, and the Arborway, the closed down Arborway Railroad, it had steam and diesel. But that railroad was, now the only power it runs on is just oxygen. It doesn't even run at all now. Well, they still run, but they're just being sold to other railroads. Sucks.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you mine. So there is a train. There is like trains I rode before. There was a train named the R160, which is electric. I think it's electric.
Yeah. There is also There's also a train at the Museum of Transportation, which is gasoline powered like the Zooline engines. In fact, it has the same basis of the Zooline engines, and the livery, which is the paint scheme, looks similar to Charlton Tandy.
You said that right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let me continue with mine. A train named the R160.
Yeah, and on the Union Pacific, there is like special Union Pacific days. One railroad not really railroad, but there's one train I want to try in Missouri. It's the Missouri River Runner, which is the Amtrak line up in it runs from Kansas City to St. Louis along the Missouri River.
Yeah, that's nice. But let me continue for mine. This is the R160. It's a train where basically it's just electric. It moves via like a track named the third rail. Well, and you see, the third rail is really electric, and if you like step on it, you would just get electrocuted and you just die.
Yeah, I heard about subways. Don't piss on a subway rail. Mythbusters tried, doing an experiment with this dummy pissing on the subway rail with fake piss, and needless to say, the person blew blazes.
Yeah, don't even try to do that.
Yeah.
All right. And there's another train which is the oldest that I see. The R62A. You see, the R62A got delivered in the 90s, and it's also electric powered and really old. This really old. And it used to run on a few lines. It used to run on the 4 line, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 1 and 3. The 1, 3, and 6 survived. The 7, 4, and 5 got their R62As removed. Favor of like yards. And oh yeah, there's a new type of train car, the R211s, and it just got delivered in 2021, and it's really good. You should just check it out. All right, you can continue.
He knows a lot about train cars. And I've been on a couple roads out of states. Like I've been to the Midland Railroad, which is up in Kansas, and they were hosting a Dare with Thomas, and I went to that. That was the first Dare with Thomas I went to. And there's also the Incline Railway up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which has this train car being pulled up the mountain by a cable. It's terrifying.
Yeah, really terrifying. Why do you have any like railroads?
Yeah.
Not I've ridden on a train in a mall in my local mall that I don't even know what that one was called. South County Mall train. The Southtown Mall train. My local mall is uh, let's see. Um, Mine was it was if I can find that train from my local of a picture of a train of my from my local mall. Um, I used to write on that a lot. I used to write on that when I was real little, and although I have ridden on a real train, not in my hometown, but I a couple years ago in Colorado called I think it was the Georgetown Loop Railroad that I rode on in Colorado, and
What
and
power?
yeah, it was pretty cool, and it was a pretty awesome ride. I saw uh, a couple of good places over there, and the it was pretty awesome. And I still remember riding on that train with my dad and my sister and my brother. It was pretty go. It was pretty cool.
Now my question is it steam or diesel power?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know if the Georgetown loop is like steam or some uh, George.
Oh, okay. So Hudson confirms that it's they had a narrow gauge Shay, which is a geared locomotive. Now, I've always wanted to see a Shay up close, but there's no Shay steam locomotives in Missouri that I currently know of. But pretty much how it works is that, most trains have routes like Thomas over here does.
Hmm.
And, yeah, share this with your friends. And if you
Hmm.
want more people to watch, then go ahead and share this with your friends. This
Yeah.
Railcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the old busyness.
Yeah.
One
So,
railroad
any
that I've always-
questions?
Nope.
One railroad that I've really wanted to visit is the Strasburg Railroad, which they actually have a real life steam powered Thomas the Tank Engine.
Very cool.
And it's the only steam powered Thomas in Missouri. All the other, well, not Missouri, in America. There's other Thomases, but they're dummies, which means that they're fake, and Thomas has to be pushed by another engine. If it's not, then he's just laying there. Let me just get an engine to illustrate. So we're gonna pretend that Duck is the engine. So sometimes they just push from behind Thomas, or there's like coaches behind him. Let me just pull a random train car. So we're gonna pretend this drum car is the train. Sometimes the train would just push Thomas from behind, and yeah.
Okay. I have I so now I was just looking this up. I do have a couple uh uh one of those things I want to bring up. One of them's technically not railroad, but one of them is the train station. I rode on a train station in Provo, Utah, to go to the kids museum where they get to play with stuff that are like educational. I also went on that ride to go look at the beautiful lights, the Christmas lights, and just walk around and look at them. And yeah, it was pretty cool, and all of them looked beautiful. And yeah, yeah, that's what I did a few years ago with my siblings.
Hmm. I'll tell you one thing. I want to go on another Dale with Thomas because, well, I've only been to one, and I want to try a new one. I might try the one up in Illinois. I might buy the tickets and ask my mom if she would drive me up there, and I'll pay for gas and the tickets. It'll just be me and her, and we just go see Thomas and Percy. I also heard that the Dale with Thomas models now have the All Engines Go voices, but they don't have the All Engines Go looks. So it's pretty much the average Thomas the Tank that you know and love, just with the voice of. Let me just look for. Oh yeah, just with the voice of this garbage.
Yeah, about that. That's bad. Okay, can I continue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So there's a train, the longest subway like ride in New York City or like subway route is the A train. It heads from Inwood to 207th Street in Manhattan via 8th Avenue Express, then in Brooklyn, Fulton Street Express, and then in Queens like goes local to either Lefferts Boulevard, Rockaway Park, or let's see, Far Rockaway. And fun fact: the slowest train in New York City is the F Express. You want to know why?
Why?
Because it goes in some areas it goes only 15 miles per hour, which is really slow. And
I think
the shortest. All right, so the shortest subway route is the 42nd Street shuttle in Manhattan from Grand Central to Times Square. Any questions? Any questions in the live chat?
no comment. You know a lot about trains.
No comments, but Hudson Train Guy did bring up the Houston Steam Museum in La Porte, Indiana, has miniature and narrow gauge steam engines, including traction engines.
Traction engines. Now, traction engines are, low steam engines. It's pretty much steam engine that goes on roads instead of rails. Like Trevor. Trevor's a traction engine. There's a piston and it turns this gear, which causes it to turn the wheels.
Yeah.
Now, I've always wanted to see a traction engine up close. I've actually seen one. There's one at Merrimack Springs, which is really close to where I live, Salem. It's in St. James, and they actually had a traction engine in there. It doesn't operate, but it's pretty cool. I thought, man, that looks a lot like Trevor.
Mm-hmm. And also, there's a subway train named the R46. The R44 is a sister train where it got retired in the early 2010s, while R46 right here didn't get retired. And it was the oldest subway train in present day because it was delivered in I think late 1964 or something. Don't really know.
The closest thing we have to a subway up in St. Louis is the Metrolink. It does go under the ground, but the electricity doesn't come from the rails. It comes from a arm that sits on top of the engine, and it conducts electricity from the power lines. And it has its own line where there's signals, and the train goes underground. It also goes above the surface. I've seen a couple of them. I remember while I was filming for Drew Thomas' movie, as I was going under a bridge, a couple Metrolinks passed over us.
Nice. All right. So let's talk about event trains.
Now, during Christmas time, some railroads do like the Polar Express. I know for sure Branson does the Polar Express, and it was a lot of fun. And there's obviously Dale with Thomas, which not one railroad in Missouri has done a Dale with Thomas. I mean, There has been one back in the old days up in East St. Louis, but that's nowhere near. Well, it's what is near St. Louis, but it's not in Missouri. So therefore, there hasn't been a single Daryl Thomas event in Missouri. In fact, on the day when I went to Daryl Thomas, we actually went to Kansas all in one day. We went to Kansas and Daryl Thomas all in one day. Then we drove back, ate dinner at Cracker Barrel, then went home. I had to get up really early. It was a long drive, but it was worth it.
All right, yeah.
What event trains do you like?
So event trains. For my event trains, a bunch of people gather up into a simple station and wait for the event train to arrive. Once an event train arrives, people take out their phones and just record it.
Oh. Yeah, I know that.
All right.
Sorry.
So these type of trains would be an R32. You see, the R32s were bought in brought it in 1966, and heck, there was even the R32 on Grand Central in 1964, the oldest pick of it, and it got retired recently, and there was like two runs actually, one on the D line to 2nd Avenue and one on the Q line to Brighton Beach. Now, the D line was a really bad one because people named foamers, changing row signs, and even breaking a seat on the train. Then later, the MTA gave them a second chance, and here's the Q train to Brighton. Now you see it was good. I'll just say that it was good.
Well, I know that up in St. Louis, they occasionally have special events where Big Boy or Union Pacific steam trains go visit Missouri.
Yeah,
I was hoping for Big Boy, but I unfortunately had college back when I tried for my 4 days of college. Hated every minute of it. Dropped out, and my mom had school, so I couldn't go. So I would really like to go to one of those events someday where, a steam engine comes to Missouri, like a real steam engine. But we have Tommy G. Robertson. He's real steam power. We have the Wabash Frisco Pacific Railroad. I've been on that railroad. It was fun.
See, so any questions about what I said, Hudson?
Oh. All I can say is
Hudson Train Guy also said that there is also a mainline excursion steam operations like SP 449, 4449, UP 844, and Southern 4501. And there's also circus trains.
Yeah, circus trains. Whenever a circus train passes through, people cheer and they rail fan the circus train. They see all the train cars that announce the circus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I've never seen a circus train up close, although there has been a couple of circuses that went through Missouri, there's one in Sullivan, but
if you go watch the Rugrats movie, I think it's on Paramount Plus. There is a circus train that monkeys drive and just drive crazy, and then they end up derailing it down to the forest hill, and it's And Hudson also said Fergus is a traction engine that goes on rails.
I have Fergus somewhere. Let me just pull him out. I think that Fergus is somewhere in here. Yeah, I can't find Fergus. But Fergus he looks a little like Trevor, but he goes on rails. Where the hell do I put Fergus? I'll find him later. Anyway,
can I tell you the equipment? Can I tell you the equipment that my subway used?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So they're used the R46, the R68 and the R68A, the R62 and 62A, let me see, the I think, yeah, the R142 and A's, R143s, and the R188.
A plum. I saw Fergus. I thought someone passed through.
Fergus passed through.
There,
What?
right there. Got him. This is Fergus. This is what he looks like. See the gear, how it sits on the engine, and there's the piston, which turns the gear, which turns the wheel, and thus causes it to move. That's how a traction engine works. And as Hudson says in the comments, that's Fergus's quote. He always says, "Do it right." That's what
From
Fergus
morning
says.
to night. Yeah, I like that joke. But I'm gonna tell you some bad things about the subway, and it's gonna be like, I think, a 1-minute one. So basically, people go on the third rail. People do stunts on stations. People gets pushed on the third rail. Third rail has the cover, and people get ran over by a train. There's a lot of there's even more, but I don't want to get like too deep before it gets way too crazy.
Well, also you've mentioned this before, but I don't know if your mom train had tracks or if it was a trackless train, but I've been on trackless trains too, which some people have like four-wheelers that pull like these barrel cars, and it's in a line like a train. And there's also a little sorry about that. There's a little train up in Pumpkin Patch and Rolla called Pete's Pumpkin Patch, and their steam train. Well, it's not really a steam train; it's a tractor that was designed to look like a train. I mean, there's also one hayride that I went on there's a hayride that I went on when I was a kid, and the tractor pulled like a long line of like carts. It felt like a train. But it wasn't a train; it was a tractor just pulling a hayride. I like it when hayrides do that. They have like multiple trailers and it feels like a train. That was an unforgettable hayride. Man, so that was back with my original father's family.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you this one time. So one time I saw one of the trains. Saw a train named the R30, and it's a really old train that got retired, and it was sitting somewhere around here. It had a roll signs on it. Really, it got removed.
I know that there is a trackless train up in Branson at the Branson landing. I wanted to go on it, but I was like, it's a trackless train. Don't waste my money.
Yeah.
But
And
a train's a train no matter how it runs. Whether it's on rails or whether they don't have rails. It's still a fun train.
who is that?
That was Thomas.
Oh, hi, Tom. Anyways, before I can speak, I'm gonna do this. So, there's trains called Path, New Jersey Transit, and Amtrak. Amtrak is everywhere, and New Jersey Transit and Path are just everywhere too. And yeah. So why you can speak?
Yeah. I still have yet to go on Amtrak.
Yeah, we have to wrap it up to Thomas Tales, and thank you for being our guest tonight, and we'll see you next time.
All right, Tales.
Well, goodbye, and pickles suck. Peace.
And speaking of which, we have reached the 30-minute mark. So, Thomas, anything to add? There's that new Dale Thomas voice is just no.
Yeah.
You heard it from the man himself. He doesn't like the new voices.
Yeah.
But, well, let's derail.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for coming on a ride with us on the EZ Railcast. We are now going to derail it, and we're gonna let you all guys off. And this has been Drew Thomas, me, and Thomas Tales as our guests tonight, saying goodbye and pickles suck. And remember to always sparkle up your railroad.
And
Well, yeah.
also, just a reminder, don't piss on the subway.
Yeah, do not do that. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Go to
guys.
Six Flags, please. It's a fun place.